Hello, hi, a very happy good evening. So this is Krishnaveni and we've been talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So today we are in lecture 1 of human reproduction. So we're going to start this chapter. Hi Satyendra, yes, a very happy good evening. Vinu, hi, yes, good evening. Antonia B, hi, good evening, yes. So I'm sorry for being late, a small technical glitch. Okay, so I hope you all had a very relaxing weekend. So you're all fine, yes? Okay, yes, hello. Okay, so for all those who are new, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I teach a class 12 chapter, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I teach a class 11 chapter. So today is Monday, so we are starting with this chapter, that is human reproduction. So today we'll talk about the first part of this chapter, that is male reproductive system. Okay, so before we actually go into this chapter, come on guys, so please do like, share and subscribe my link. So let your friends know here we are acing up for the NEET exam. Okay, so before going further, I hope you remember the announcement I gave the previous day. So that is syllabus wrap-up series is starting from today. So today at 6:30 to 7:30, I am with you. So we will start lecture 1 of this series. So we will start with living world. So one of the key feature of this series is that we'll be taking important points from NCERT. If you don't understand any particular line from NCERT, please do come ask us. And even while preparing the lecture, I have prepared in such a way I have covered all the important lines from your NCERT. Okay? So make sure you are joining me at 6:30 p.m. this evening. So moving forward with this chapter, that is human reproduction. So this is lecture 1 of human reproduction. So the other day when we started, so there were some, once again, a technical glitch. So I couldn't teach this first lecture properly, and then the other class got cancelled. So today we are finally here talking about the lecture 1 of human reproduction. So moving further. So what are the topics that we will be covering in this chapter? So first one, we will talk about the introduction. So how does human reproduction happen? It is not a single step process. There are 7 steps that leads to a complete development of a fetus. So we are starting with your male reproductive system. So today we will talk about introduction and male reproductive system. So followed by that, we will talk about female reproductive system in the subsequent lectures. Then gametogenesis. You have your menstrual cycle, which happens in case of female. Then you have fertilization, implantation, pregnancy and embryonic development, parturition and lactation. So these are the chapters that we will be covering here. So how are these linked to each other? So what is a link? So why should we study all these subtopics under the heading human reproduction? So here I will make a cohesive link between these topics. So humans are sexually reproducing organisms and we are viviparous. So what does viviparous means? Okay, so viviparous means when we are able to take care of our young one. So that is called as viviparous. Menstrual cycle is very tough. No, it is not actually. So if you understand the logic behind, so there are only 4 points that you have to remove. So we will make it easy. So don't worry. So I will take around 5 lectures to complete this chapter. So we will go slowly. Each and every topic we will solve some questions. Even today I have got some questions. So let's go through the questions as well. Okay. So we are sexually reproducing and we are viviparous. So how does or what are the phenomena or process that occurs in a reproductive cycle? So first one is the formation of gametes. So when I say we are sexually reproducing, the first point that should come to your mind is the formation of gametes. So gametogenesis is the first step. So the gametes in case of males are your sperms and in case of females are your ova. Okay. Whole chapter is confusing. Okay, Antonia B. So we will go slowly step by step. So I'll make sure you understand. Okay. Yes. So transfer of sperms into female genital tract, because not both the gametes are motile. So the one that is motile has to reach the other one. So there should be a meeting. So this is called as insemination. Once both the male and the female gametes meet, then you have fertilization. So fertilization leads to the formation of zygote. So first is gametogenesis, followed by insemination, then you have fertilization happening. So fertilization leads to the formation of your zygote. Okay. So number 4, now your zygote should develop. It undergoes a series of cell division and it reaches a stage known as blastocyst stage. Okay, and then it gets attached to the uterine wall, because your fertilization does not happen in the uterus. It happens in a portion just before the uterus. Okay. So after fertilization, the blastocyst happens. So after the blastocyst stage, the embryo reaches the uterine wall and then it attaches to the uterine wall. So blastocyst is step 4, implantation is number 5. Okay. So then you have the embryonic development happening. So this is for a period of 9 months and this is known as gestation period. Okay. So this is step number 6. So further, you have delivery of the child outside the human body, outside an individual when the development is complete. So that is called as parturition or child delivery or childbirth. So these are the 7 points, but all these events occur after puberty. So from the chapter reproduction in organisms, so we know each organism has a cycle. Okay, so from the time of birth till death, it undergoes certain stages and only at particular stage it is reproductively active. So only after puberty your sexual reproduction can take place. Okay, fine. So moving further, so there is remarkable difference between the reproductive events of your male and female. In case of male, the sperm formation, that is gamete formation in case of male, continues throughout. Whereas in female, the formation of the female gamete, that is the ovum, it stops after a particular period. So there are remarkable difference between both the individuals. Clear? So once again, summing up whatever I said, so the human reproductive events is divided into 7 beautiful stages. So what are the stages? So number 1, since it is sexually reproducing organism, there should be formation of gametes, right? So step number 1 is your gametogenesis. So you have a sperm coming from male and you have an ova in a female, okay? So gametogenesis is the formation of these gametes. Now your sperm has to reach the ovum because only your sperm is motile. So step number 2 is insemination, when your sperm is introduced into the female genital tract. So this is insemination. Okay. So step number 3, they are meeting, the sperm and ova are meeting. So it leads to fertilization. So fertilization is when your male and your female gamete are meeting. Okay, so that is fertilization. So fertilization leads to the formation of zygote. So your gametes are haploid and your zygotes are diploid. Fine? Okay, you want me to go to the previous slide? Okay, so I am just explaining this because sometimes students get scared when they look into a lot of lines content, when they look into a lot of theory. So that's why I write it down in simple terms so that it's easy. So is it done, Vinu? Yes? So these are the 7 steps and this chapter is divided into these topics and we'll be talking about each of the topics in detail. Fine? Have you done? Okay, so moving further. Yes, so here we are talking about fertilization. Now your zygote will undergo a series of division. Once it undergoes a series of division, it is called as a blastocyst stage. So this is step number 4. So after blastocyst, it gets embedded in the uterine wall. This is called as implantation in the uterus. So this is step number 5. After implantation, it undergoes development inside the uterus. So this is called as gestation. So in humans, the gestation period is 9 months. So once the embryo is fully developed, it is led outside the female's body. So that step is called as parturition. So parturition is child delivery. Okay, so these are the 7 steps in which a human reproductive process is divided and we are going to talk about each of them. So first, starting with the first process, that is gametogenesis. So gametogenesis is the production of gametes, right? So your sperm is the male gamete and your ovum is the female gamete. So who produces these gametes? So the male gamete is produced by the male reproductive system. and the female gamete is produced by the female reproductive system. So how is the male reproductive system designed to produce the sperms? So that is what is our topic for today. Fine. So moving further, so we are starting the topic with the male reproductive system. So it is located in the pelvis region. So first the location, where is your reproductive system located in male? It is located in your pelvis region, that is in the lower abdominal portion. So what are the components? Who are the members of this system? When I say male reproductive system is a group of things, right? So who are the individuals in this system? When I say this is an organization, this is a class of students, so which means it is more than one. So similarly, when I say system, there are more than one component here. The first one is a pair of testes, okay? Then you have accessory ducts, you have glands, and then external genitalia. So you have 4 members which make up the system. Just like you have 4 people making up your family, mother, father, brother, sister. So here also you have 4 members which make up your human male reproductive system. What are they? You have a pair of testes, which is the main sex organ, followed by you have accessory ducts, then you have glands, and then you have external genitalia. Fine. So these are the members. So here you should remember the members, the 4 members. That is the first point. So now talking about the first member. So we will talk in detail about your testes here. So your testis is located outside the abdominal cavity. So within a pouch that is called as scrotum. So all of us have abdominal cavity, but your testis, that is the important male sex organ, is located below the abdominal cavity within a pouch that is called as scrotum. So why it is designed to live outside the abdominal cavity is because, so the primary function of your testis is to produce the male gamete, that is the sperms. So for the production of sperms, they need a temperature very below the normal body temperature. So that is why it ensures it is slightly away from the human, slightly away from all the body organs. That is why it is situated in a sac outside your abdominal cavity. So scrotum helps in maintaining a lower temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees lower than the internal body temperature. So point number 1, so your male human reproductive system, so the entire reproductive system, so all the 4 members are located in the pelvis region, okay, in the pelvic region. Okay, so then you should remember the 4 members, pair of testes, accessory ducts, glands, external genitalia. So now we're talking about the first one, that is a pair of testes. So pair of testes is located outside the abdominal cavity. So within a pouch that is known as scrotum. Okay, so the scrotum basically helps in maintaining a temperature lower than the internal temperature to regulate the production of sperms. Okay. Okay, it's a very rainy day. Okay, since it's a very rainy day, so please stay safe. Don't go outside. It's high time you might catch cold. So here the virus is also spreading. So please take care, Vinu, but please do watch my recorded lecture. But thank you so much for joining and waiting for my lecture. So it's really great. So try to join me at 6:30. So please don't forget. Okay. Yes. So this is how it is designed. So this is your male reproductive system. So you have a pair of testes. So we will talk about the ducts that we have. Then we also have the glands and we have the external genitalia. Okay. So you have a pair of testes. If you see, this is your pelvis region. Okay. This is located outside your abdominal cavity. So your testis is located within a sac that is known as scrotum. Can you see? This is testis. It is located within a pouch that is your scrotum. Fine. So this is how it is designed. So moving further, we will talk about the scrotum. First, we will talk about the pouch which is enclosing or which is housing your testis. So scrotum or scrotal sac. So it is lined by dartos muscle and spermatic fascia. Okay. So the dartos muscle regulates the temperature. So the main function of the scrotum is to maintain a very lower temperature compared to the internal body temperature. So it has to maintain a temperature of about 2 to 2.5 degrees. So this dartos muscle which lines your scrotal sac, it helps in regulating your temperature. So this is your dartos muscle. Fine. So this contracts during the cold season and relaxes during the warm season, thus maintaining a very low internal temperature within the testis so that it can regulate the process of spermatogenesis. Okay, now this is on the outside. So the outside of the scrotal sac is lined by dartos muscle and spermatic fascia. The internal of the scrotum and the spermatic cords. So the lingual canal in case of males is your spermatic cords. So they are lined by a separate type of muscles that is known as cremaster muscles. So your scrotum or the scrotal sac on the outside is lined by your dartos muscle. On the inner side, it is lined by your cremaster muscles. Fine. So this cremaster muscle helps in the elevation of testis. Though your testis is located outside your abdominal cavity, it should not be left free to hand. Someone has to hold it in place. So it is held in place by your cremaster muscles. So the lingual canal is it's a canal, right? So it has two passages. It is present in the anterior abdominal wall of humans. So lingual canal is present in case of both males as well as your females. So in case of males, it helps in the spermatic cords, or it convolves or it acts as your spermatic cords. In case of females, it acts as round ligaments around the uterus. So we are talking about the pouch that is housing your testis. So that scrotum or the scrotal sac on the outer side, it is lined by your dartos muscle and spermatic fascia. So this dartos muscle regulates the temperature. So it contracts during the cold season and it relaxes during the warm season. On the internal side of the scrotum, so you have a special type of muscle called the cremaster muscle. This helps in the elevation of testis. So it is held in place, though it is below the abdominal cavity, it is held in place by your cremaster muscles. So here I have written what is called as a lingual canal. So lingual canal are two passages, one on this side, on other side. It is present on the anterior abdominal wall. So you have your abdominal wall. On the anterior portion, you have your lingual canal. So lingual canal is present in both your males as well as your females. In case of males, it acts as spermatic cords. In case of females, it is a round ligament around the uterus. Just remember this much. So the testis is now connected to the scrotal sac by flexible and elastic fiber that is known as gubernaculum or mesortium. So now you have a pouch like this. So this is your scrotum. Inside this you have your testis. But how are these two connected? With the help of elastic muscles that is known as gubernaculum or mesortium. Okay. So testis is attached to the dorsal body wall by spermatic cords. So in the anterior wall, so you have your abdominal wall. Okay, so on the front portion, it is attached by a lingual canal, and on the dorsal side, it is attached by special spermatic cords. Okay, so spermatic cords are elastin fibers, and it consists of the spermatic fascia. So this spermatic fascia are the spermatic cords that is attached to the dorsal abdominal wall. So to make it clear, I have a figure. So this is the scrotum that we are talking about. Okay. So here is your testis, okay. Screen is dancing, okay. Is it clear now? No, once again it's dancing. Okay, just hold on, I'm coming. Shubham sir? Hey, camera. Dance. They can't see. Camera is blinking. It's because you have class at the same time I have. Shut up. Okay, so they will get it sorted. So just give me a few minutes, okay? Yes, just give me a few minutes, they'll get it sorted. So meanwhile, let's continue, okay? Yes, so I hope you can hear me. So we are talking about scrotum. So scrotum is a pouch that is holding your testis, okay? So this is your testis, the pouch is your scrotum. So the external side of your scrotum, on the outer side of the scrotum, it is lined by your dartos muscle, okay? Then you have external spermatic fascia. And then you also have internal spermatic fascia. So this is your outer red one is your dartos muscle that regulates the temperature. Yes. So inner to that you have external spermatic fascia. Okay. Then this is your internal spermatic fascia. In between them you have your cremaster muscles. And your lingual passage is also present. So this is how your scrotal sac is designed. Clear? So when you talk about the scrotal pouch, you should remember dartos muscle, you should remember spermatic fascia, and you should also remember what is your cremaster muscles. So scrotum, so this your testis is attached to a scrotum via a muscle that is known as gubernaculum. It is also known as mesoceum. Okay, fine. Yes, ma'am. Good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please do like, share and subscribe. So moving further, so I hope you understood about scrotum. So continuation. So what does the spermatic cords contain? Because the spermatic cords are attached to the abdominal wall. What does it contain? It contains your vas deferens. So vas deferens is a duct, is a type of duct through which connects from your uterus to, which connects from your testis to your external genitalia. So that is vas deferens. Okay. Next one is your gonadal veins. Then you have your gonadal arteries. Then you have your nerves and then your lymphatics. So all these three are present in your spermatic cords. So spermatic cords which are attached to your abdominal wall, it is connected to vas deferens, gonadal vein, so gonadal arteries, nerves and your lymphatic. Just like in your kidney where we spoke that hilum is an opening through which blood vessels, nerves, everything enters. So the same is the case here. So through your spermatic cords, your vas deferens, gonadal veins, gonadal arteries, nerves and lymphatics enter the testis. Fine? Okay. So during the embryonic stage, so at the time of gestation, so when the baby is inside the mother's womb, the testis is present in the abdominal cavity. It is not present outside the abdominal cavity. It is present in the abdominal cavity. At the time of birth, so at the time of parturition, at the time of child delivery, the testis has to descend down to the scrotum. So failure of the testis to descend down, this condition is known as undescended testis or cryptorchidism. So when the testis during the gestation, it is present in the abdominal cavity, but at the time of birth, it has to descend down into the scrotum. When it does not happen, it is called as undescended crestis or cryptorchidism. So such a kind of testis will not be able to produce sperms properly because it will not have a low internal temperature, right? So here this is a type of condition where the male will not be able to produce sperms. So there's another term which is orchiopexy. So orchiopexy means the undescended testis which by surgical means can be brought down. So this is also present. So it has not descended at the time of birth. So surgically it can be got down. So that is called as orchiopexy. Fine. So I hope you remember the terms. One is undescended testis or cryptorchidism. The other one is orchiopexy. Fine. Okay. So moving forward, now we are talking about testis. So we spoke about 4 members of the male reproductive system. A pair of testes, accessory ducts, glands and your external male genitalia. So long we were talking about the pouch that is surrounding your testis or that is holding your testis. outside the abdominal cavity. So now we are talking about testes, okay? Yes, Anthony, they have resolved the issue, fine. So the internal lining of the testis, now we are talking about the testis itself. The testis on the internal side is covered by 3 coats. The first coat is tunica vaginalis, this is the outermost. Then it is tunica albuginea. The third one is tunica vasculosa. So this is the innermost layer. So this is the outermost layer. So this is the middle layer and this is the innermost layer. So you have 3 layers that are lining inside your testis. The first one is tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, the tunica vasculosa. Okay, so this is the innermost layer. So tunica vaginalis, which is the outermost, so it is parietal and it is also a visceral layer because it is housing your hollow organ like your testis. Okay, so it is parietal because it is outermost, it is visceral because it is housing your hollow organ like your testis. Fine, this covers the whole testis except at the posterior border. So posterior border is at the end where it is not covered. Where it is not covered and where your vessels and your nerves enter. Suppose in a layman term, if this is my testis and it is covered by an outer layer known as tunica vaginalis at one portion, so this is your innermost layer and this is the outermost layer. At the posterior side alone it is not covered because it is through this entry that your blood vessels and your nerves enter. So this portion alone is not covered by a tunica vaginalis. Are you getting my point? Yes. So you have 3 layers on the inner side of your testis. The starting outer layer is tunica vaginalis, then tunica albuginea, then tunica vasculosa. So the outermost tunica vasculosa, it covers the whole of testis except at one end, that is the posterior end, because that is the opening where your blood vessels and your nerves enter your testis. Okay, so this is that. The next one, tunica albuginea. It is a dense white fibrous coat. At the posterior border, it is thickened and it forms a vertical septum that is known as mediastinum testis. So remember, in case of tunica vaginalis, the posterior portion is the opening. So there blood vessels and nerves enter. So there you do not have your vaginalis layer. But in tunica albuginea, the posterior portion is thickened and it forms a vertical septum. So what do I mean by vertical septum? So septum is a wall, right? So thus it forms mediastinum testis. So you have 2 types of testis, rete testis and mediastinum testis. So we will see in the diagram. Yes, sir. A very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please do like, share and subscribe. So moving forward, so this is how it is. So you have your tunica vaginalis, the outermost layer. Actually, tunica vaginalis itself is divided into 3 sub-layers. So it has a parietal layer, then it has a cavity, then it has a visceral layer. This entire thing is your tunica vaginalis. Inner to that you have your tunica albuginea. So if you look at the tunica vaginalis, the posterior portion is not covered because this is where your blood cells and your nerves enter. So this layer is your tunica vaginalis and the posterior side alone it is not covered because your blood vessels and your nerves enter this side. So the next layer, tunica albuginea, it is a capsule. If you can see, again the posterior portion. So ideally they have taken it like this. So you can take this also as anterior, this also as posterior. This is also anterior, this is also posterior. So this is the posterior side, this is the anterior side, this is the posterior side. So the posterior side of tunica albuginea, yes, it divides into a vertical septum. So that is your mediastinum testis. Okay. So this is your mediastinum testis. Clear? So this is how the 3 layers are divided. So innermost here you have your tunica vasculosa layer. So these are the 3 layers of your testis. Once again, tunica vaginalis, so tunica albuginea and tunica vasculosa. So tunica vaginalis, so this is the tunica vaginalis. The posterior portion is not covered because the blood vessels and nerves enter. Then it is tunica albiguinea. So in tunica albiguinea, the posterior portion is divided into a vertical septum, that is your mediastinum testis. Done? Okay. So moving further, so testis is oval shaped. So it is 4 to 5 centimeter in length like your kidney and 2 to 3 centimeter in width. So it is covered by a dense covering. Yes, it has 3 layers and we have seen the 3 layers, and each testis, so you have a pair of testis. So each of the testis has 250 compartments, which is your testicular lobule. Okay. So each of the testicular lobule has 1 to 3 highly coiled structures, which are known as seminiferous tubules. So it is inside these seminiferous tubules your sperms are formed. So each seminiferous tubule is lined inside by 2 cells. So first cell is your male germ cell, which is also known as spermatogonia, that undergoes meiotic division to produce your sperms. The next one is your Sertoli cells, or subtangular cells, or your nurse cells, which nourish the sperms. So the seminiferous tubules are lined by white fibrous tissue that is known as tunica propria. So on the inner side, it is lined by cuboidal germinal epithelium. So don't get confused. So I'm explaining the structure of testis. So long we were talking about the scrotum. The scrotum houses your testis. Okay. So the testis has 3 layers actually. So vaginalis, vasculosa and albiguinea. Yes. Now talking about the inner side of the testis. So testis has almost 250 compartments, which is known as testicular lobules. So this is your testicular lobules. Okay, so each of the testicular lobule has 1 to 3 highly coiled structure. So these structures are known as seminiferous tubules. So these seminiferous tubules have 2 cells present within them. So the 2 cells are, first one is the male germ cell, which is also known as spermatogonia. Fine. So the next one is your nurse cells or your Sertoli cells. So your spermatogonia or the male germ cell will undergo meiotic division to produce your sperms, and your nurse cells or your Sertoli cells will nourish the growing sperms. Your seminiferous tubule is lined by a dense connective tissue on the outer side that is known as tunica propria. On the inner side, it is lined by cuboidal germinal epithelium. Is this much clear? Yes. Do you have any doubts? It is clear? Is the board visible to all of you? Are you facing issues once again? Is the board visible to all of you? Anthony, Abhi, Satyendra, your understanding? Yes? So shall I proceed forward? Clear? So Anthony, Abhi, it's clear? Yes, fine, okay. So 250 compartments, testicular lobules, seminiferous tubules. So seminiferous tubules have 2 cells. One is male germ cells and your nurse cells. Okay. So this is what is written here in text. So don't get scared. Fine. So moving forward, so now we are talking about the seminiferous tubules. So outside the seminiferous tubules, so highly coiled structures, so you have 1 to 3 highly coiled structures which are called as seminiferous tubules. So in between the seminiferous tubules, okay, so it is like this. So in between the highly coiled structures, the spaces in between them, right? So this is known as your interstitial space. So they contain small blood vessels, they contain interstitial cells or Leydig cells and other immunologically competent cells. Other cells which are capable of mounting an immune response are also present. So you have 250 testicular lobules, and in each of the lobule you have 1 to 3 highly coiled structure, and each of the coil structure is called as seminiferous tubules. In between the 1 to 3 coil structure there is some space, right? So that is called as interstitial space. In that space you have small blood vessels, you have interstitial cells or your Leydig cells, and you also have other immunologically competent cells. So where did we talk about Leydig cells? So we spoke that a luteinizing hormone from your anterior pituitary combines with your Leydig cell to produce androgens. One important androgen is your testosterone, right? The same thing. So Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormones known as your androgens. So testis, it consists of testicular lobules. So inside the testicular lobules you have your seminiferous tubules. So all the seminiferous tubules join together at one portion, that is the apice. So in a triangle, so you call this as an apex, right? So similarly, all the seminiferous tubules in each of the 250 compartment, they join together at a particular apices and they form a straight tubule or your tubuli erecti. So tubuli recti they form, okay? So this is the next structure. So this enters the mediastinum region of the tunica albuginea, thus forming retate testis. So here is a figure. Okay, so let's go back to the previous figure. So I guess it was much clearer in the previous, yes. So this is your testicular lobule. So this is one lobule, two lobule, third lobule, etc. Inside each of the lobule, you have 1 to 3 highly coiled structure. So this is your seminiferous tubule. So this is your seminiferous tubule. So in between each of the seminiferous tubule, you have interstitial cells, that is your Leydig cells. You have small blood vessels and other immunologically competent cells, right? Okay, so your seminiferous cells on the inside has two cells. One is spermatogonia, the other one is your nurse cells, that is your Sertoli cells. So on the inner side, it is lined by cuboidal epithelium, outer side by lens fibrous tissue, that is your tunica propria. So all the seminiferous tubules are joined together at the apice. So this is the apice and this structure is called as tubuli erecti. Okay, so they are joined together at this apice, right? So this is called as tubuli erecti. So now this enters to form, this enters into the mediastinum region to form your retate testis, because this is in your tunica albuginea layer. So all the apices of the seminiferous tubule enter into the mediastinum region, thus forming your retate testis. Clear? Yes. So that is what is discussed. So if you can see the coiled, the testicular lobules, then you have highly coiled seminiferous tubules. So all of them are joined at your tubuli erecti to enter into your mediastinum region. So it is like this. So you have, these are your testicular lobules. Inside the lobules you have highly coiled structures. So all these structures are joined together at the apice. So this is called as the tubuli erecti. And they enter into the mediastinum. Thus this portion is known as retate testis. So now you understand what is tubuli erecti and what is your retate testis. Clear? So I am moving forward to the next part, that is the male sex accessory ducts. So among the 4 members, the first member is done. The first member is a pair of testes. We are done discussing about the scrotal tissues as well as the testes. Now I am moving to the male accessory ducts. How many ducts are there? So from your rete testis, the passage is vasa efferentia, then you have your epididymis, and then you have your vas deferens. This is the order. From testis, if the sperms have to move, so the sperms can be ejaculated out only through your male external genitalia. So from your testis, it will move into the mediastinum region, that is your rete testis. From your rete testis, it moves into vasa efferentia. So from your vasa efferentia, it moves into epididymis, and from your epididymis into vas deferens. So they are accessory ducts. Ducts means passage, right? So these are the passages through which your sperms passes through. So seminiferous tubules present inside your testis, they open into res testis, rete testis into vasa efferentia, this into epididymis, this is in the posterior surface of your testis. Then you have your vas deferens, which ascends to the abdominal region. So from here, something has to move to the abdominal region. So your vas deferens moves towards your abdominal region and it loops over your urinary bladder. So that is your vas deferens. Fine. So seminal vesicle has a duct. So seminal vesicle is a duct. It opens into ejaculatory duct. That is, so seminal vesicle has a duct. So seminal vesicle is a gland. So this gland has a duct, okay. So that opens into ejaculatory duct and the basal portion of this duct is swollen, that is ampulla. So it is here that it stores and transports sperm from the testis to the urethra. So if you look at the structure, so let me show you the structure. So the first structure that we saw, so when it loops over, so this structure, right? So from here, it has to move and loop over your urinary bladder. So this is your urinary bladder, right? So here you have your seminal vesicle. So seminal vesicle has a duct, okay? So this is your seminal vesicle. This opens into a duct. So that is your ejaculatory duct. So this is where your sperms are stored. So from your testis, your sperms move through your rete testis. Then you have your vasa efferentia. Then you have your epididymis here. Then you have your vas deferens, that is ductus deferensis. And then it loops over to your urinary bladder, right? There you have a gland near the urinary bladder, that is seminal vesicle. You also have ejaculatory duct, and the basal portion of your seminal vesicle and your ejaculatory duct is swollen, that is ampulla, and that is where your sperms are stored. Because from the testis, your sperms can come out through your urethra. Your urethra is this passage. So it is stored here temporarily till the time of ejaculation. Clear? Yes? So I hope this figure is clear to you. So moving further. So now the ducts are here. Yes, so there are only 4 ducts present. Yes, so urethra originates from the urinary bladder. It extends till the external male genitalia and to its external opening, that is urethral meatus. So urethra is what carries the sperm out of the male from the ejaculatory duct into the external opening. So that opening of the urethra is called as urethral meatus. Okay. So the next one is your external male genitalia. So the external male genitalia, so this is made up of a special type of tissues. So that is called as, okay. So the external male genitalia is known as penis, and penis is made up of a special type of tissue which helps in erection at the time of copulation. So that facilitates insemination. So insemination is when your male gamete reaches the female genital tract, right? So the enlarged end of the penis is known as gland penis, and it has loose folds of skin that is known as foreskin. So this is your external male genitalia. So this is referred to as penis. So this has a special type of tissue that helps in ejection and this erection, and this erection helps or facilitates the insemination process. That is the second process in your reproductive event. So the enlarged end of your penis is known as glans penis, and it is surrounded by a loose fold of tissue that is called as foreskin. So your external genitalia is also done. So now we are only left to talk about the glands. So we will talk about the glands. So there are three main glands. First one is your seminal vesicle. So seminal vesicle is a gland. It is lined by glandular epithelium and it secretes your seminal fluid. So the first gland associated with your male reproductive organ is your seminal vesicle. This is lined by your glandular epithelium and this secretes your seminal fluid. Fine. So the fluid is lubricating and it is transparent. Lubricating means it enhances movement. So why are the glands present and why it is secreting fluid? So that the sperms can be easily passed through. So it's lubricating, meaning it helps in the movement of the sperms. It is transparent and jelly-like and it has 60 to 70% and it contributes to 60 to 70% of the semen. So semen is the fluid that comes out of the male at the time of ejaculation. Okay, so it is a fluid. A semen is a mixture of your seminal fluid, your sperms, etc. Okay, your seminal fluid contributes to 60 to 70% of your sperms. The pH of your seminal fluid is 7.3. Your seminal fluid has an alkaline pH. So it also contains fructose. So seminal fluid contains fructose, which is a fuel to your sperms. As it is present inside the testis, so you have your Sertoli cells, which is present in the passage. So it has fructose and it helps to fuel the sperms. So it also has fibrinogen. It also has prostaglandins, which is a local hormone. It also has citrate inositol present. So these are constituents of your seminal vesicle. So the next gland is your prostate gland. So your prostate gland is located below your urinary bladder. Okay. So it's slightly alkaline fluid once again. It is milky, sticky and jelly-like. You're not able to hear me? Now can you hear me? Now also you can't hear me? Yes, you cannot hear me? Yes, clear, fine. So the prostate gland is located below your urinary bladder. It is slightly alkaline fluid and it is milky and sticky, just like it is transparent and jelly-like. It is milky and sticky. So your seminal fluid contributes 60 to 70% of the semen. This contributes 30% of the semen. Okay. So secretions of your prostate gland, secretions of your seminal vesicle together makes the semen coagulated. So coagulated means clotted. So what is a clot? Just like your blood is getting clotted. So your coagulated semen reduces the motility. Thus the energy of the sperms are conserved. So the sperm has to travel into the female genital tract to meet the egg, right? So it cannot lose its energy within the male reproductive system itself. Thus the prostate gland and your seminal gland coagulates the semen, thus the motility of the sperms are reduced and thus the energy inside the sperm is conserved. So what enables this coagulation is your fibrinogen. So fibrinogen helps in clotting, right? So this fibrinogen helps in this coagulation. So after ejaculation, when the semen is ejaculated into the female genital tract, so your fibrinogen breaks, okay, with the help of fibrinolysis and the sperm liquefies and hence it gains more energy. Thus it becomes more motile. So is it clear? So inside the male, it is the energy is reduced, that is the semen is coagulated. But when it is ejaculated, it liquefies by the action of fibrinolysis, the one that breaks down fibrinogen. Okay? The last gland is your corpus gland. So it is also known as bulbourethral gland, and it is located on the lateral side of the urethra. On the sides of the urethra, it also secretes a fluid, and it is also alkaline fluid. So you have three glands. All the three glands have your alkaline secretion. Urethra, because urethra is a common passage for your urine as well as for your semen. So your urine has an acidic pH of around 6.2, but this has an alkaline pH because your sperm needs alkaline condition. Thus your corpus gland, it destroys the acidity of the urethra and cleans it for the movement of the sperms. How it is? So you have your testis, you have your rete testis, then you have your vasa efferentia, then you have your epididymis, then you have your vas deferens, etc. So here you have your seminal vesicle. So this yellow color is a seminal vesicle. This is a pair. Then you have your prostate glands. So these two are your prostate glands, which is again a pair. And then you have your bulbourethral gland. It is present here. So this is your prostate gland. This is your seminal gland, and this is your bulbourethral gland, which is also known as your corpus gland. It cleans this passage of your urethra. Is this much clear? Yes. So we have covered all the four members of your male reproductive system. First, testis, a pair of testes, accessory ducts, glands, and the external male genitalia. Is this much clear? Yes. So a quick sum up. So I spoke to you about a pair of testes. So before we actually ventured inside the testes, we spoke about the scrotum. So what are the muscles lining the scrotum and what are the layers inside the testes? You have tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea. Then we also spoke about the structure of testes. The structure of testes starts with your testicular lobules. Then you had your seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules having your male spermatogonia or the male germ cells. And moving further, we spoke about the Sertoli cells. Yes, and then how it moves to form your tubuli erecti, rete testis. Yeah, all that we saw. And finally, we spoke about the ducts. So what are the ducts? So it starts with your rete testis. So from your rete testis, it is vasa efferentia. So from your vasa efferentia, it is epididymis. So from your epididymis, it opens out into your vas deferens. Clear? So these are the things that we spoke about. So quickly, I have three questions. So let's quickly go through the three questions here. So question number one, which of the following depicts the correct pathway for the transport of sperms? Quickly give me the answer. Rete testis, efferent ductules, epididymis, vas deferens, rete testis. So which one is right? Make it quick. Which one is right here? What is the correct order? So it is your rete testis, vasa efferentia. So vasa efferentia is known as efferent ductules. Then it is epididymis and your vas deferens, right? No, it is A. So where is vasa efferentia? So vasa efferentia, then your epididymis, right? So it is like this, testis. So you have vasa efferentia, then epididymis, then vas deferens, then your ejaculatory duct, then your urethra. So it is option B. So question number 2, Sertoli cells are found where? In the ovaries and secrete progesterone. So it is found in your seminiferous tubules and they provide nutrition to your germ cells. So Sertoli cells are the second type of cells found inside your seminiferous tubules and they nurse or provide nutrition to your growing germ cells. So here your answer is option number 3. Clear? So moving forward to question number 3. Seminal plasma in human males is rich in. So one thing, 2 is C. Yes, you're right. Okay, so seminal plasma in human males is rich in which of the following? So just now I told you seminal plasma contributes to 60 to 70% of your semen, and it contains fructose which fuels your sperms. Right, so here your answer is fructose and calcium. Okay. For 1, what is the answer? So for 1, the answer is rete testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens. So A is the answer. Okay. So 2, 3 is also done. Moving to question number 4. So if for some reason the vasa efferentia in human reproductive system gets blocked, the gametes will not be transported from where to where? So if vasa efferentia, so the order is you have your rete testis. Okay. So from your rete testis, you have your vasa efferentia. So from your vasa efferentia, you have your epididymis. So from your epididymis, you have your vas deferens. So if this is being chopped off, then the sperms or the gametes will not be transported from your testis to your epididymis. Good. You guys have understood the logic. Great. So question number 5, the last question for the evening. The shared terminal duct of the reproductive and the urinary system in the human male is a common passage both for urine as well as for your gametes is what? It's an easy clue. It is your urethra, because I told you, because urethra is where your urine also passes. Thus, the acidicity of the urethra is cleaned by the secretions of your bulbourethral gland. So here it is A. Yes, very good. So with this, I come to an end. So this is an announcement. So we are starting at 6:30. So this is the first lecture of your syllabus wrap-up series. So please do join me at 6:30 p.m. this evening. Alright. So with this, we come to an end of the human male reproductive system. If you have genuinely understood the way that I thought, if you're very clear, so please do like, share and subscribe our channel and let your friends know. I'm looking forward to meet you at 6:30 p.m. this evening. So stay tuned, take care and bye-bye.